The best place to begin is to look under Batsoft under samples, and here you will find lots of scenes that show most of the features of the core maze library. When creating a maze, the first thing is what tessellation do you want? Do you want a quad maze, or a delta maze, or a sigma maze? For example, a three-dimensional quad maze, or perhaps a maze designed around the surface of a mesh, using the mesh as the basis for the maze. Have a look in the Shapes folder to see a variety of the different tessellations available. So let's look at the components of a maze. If we see here, we have three mazes. This is officially called a quad maze. This is called a delta maze because the cells are triangular. And this is called a sigma maze. A hex maze is a sigma maze. If we have a look here, there are certain similarities in the structure. We have the maze itself. This defines what the maze looks like, maze hex and maze delta. And it begins with the maze properties, the maze size. For a quad maze, we have the number of cells in the x and the y direction. So this is quite a large maze. If we look at a hex maze, then it's the number of cells we have along a side. Maze quad has the option of wraparound. So here we have set wraparound on the horizontal, but not on the vertical. So you can see that the walls along the vertical, between the top and the bottom, are completely bounded. But horizontally speaking, this section here continues on here and wraps around to here. And it can continue out to here, which wraps around here. And these are actually directly connected. So that cell there is connected through that red arrow into this cell here. So you have true wraparound. Here, for example, you can see this ghost. As it activates, it goes right through and knows how these different pieces are connected together. So now let's look at the algorithm. Now the algorithm works the same way, whether it's tunnels or cruscals, because they're both maze generators. This one here, you set that to the actual maze you're using. If they're on the same game object, then when you run, it will find the tessellation on the same game object automatically. So looking at this first, we have our different build options. We can choose to create the pieces. What you can do is you can create the pieces once, and then you can prepare and generate repeatedly using the same game objects every time. And then we have the build options. If we have a look at it at enclose here and we switch that off, what you'll find is that the different mazes will not enclose all the way around. It does not create wraparound mazes. Braided means that we do not have dead ends. You see how it's switched off here? We have a dead end. You come in here, you go in there, and the only way out is back the way you went in. So that's a dead end. You come in here, there's a dead end. Here, you go in here in the hex maze, there's a dead end. But if we now switch this on, then the mazes will generate with no dead ends. So you can see there is always a way through. No matter how you go, there is nothing stopping you in the maze. So that's called a braiding algorithm. And I've called this particular one Tunnel's braided algorithm because I haven't seen it anywhere else. The next thing to see here is the randomizer. So of course the mazes are being randomly generated differently every time. However, if I go and select a randomizer, then they will be repeat generated the same way every time. You can see here that the regenerators are regenerating them every time identically. Now the randomizer works not only for the structure of the maze, but also for all the items you can put in there that you can generate. So all the different decorations. So if you want pictures on the walls, you want furniture, debris, treasure chests, and they're randomly generated using the core maze decoration system, I suppose you could call it, the randomizer applies to them as well. So you can generate once, and then when you're playing multiplayer, rather than cloning all the objects across the network, you send across the random seed, and all the players will generate exactly the same maze with exactly the same contents every time.